This question here could be a very easy answer, depending on how one person how you think. It could be a very hard answer, depending on how a person thinks. So this is a good question for you, Michael. Who is a bigger threat to America, President Xi of China or Vladimir Putin of Russia?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, and
Yes.
why? And why?
Oh, of course. Why? Well, when I was a kid, my father was a World War II guy. Always said, forget about everybody else. It's the Chinese. You got to watch the Chinese. He would said, you don't have enough bullets to kill them. He said, these people are going to look to take over the world one day. He says, that's the way they're built. The Silk Road, now it's the Road and Belt. I don't know if anybody heard that, but some people haven't. Look at the Road and Belt.
Road and belt.
Yeah. It's 100-year plan, I think it is, by the Chinese. World domination. I could get fact check. Anybody out there could please fact check me on that, or add to it. Or add to it would be nice.
Belt and Road is working with 70 nations that collectively make up 35% of the world's economy and 60% of the global population. While nobody knows the exact amount of money lended out, some estimates, like the one done by Refinitiv, place the figure at around $4 trillion.
Yeah, my father's always believed it was the Chinese, and you could see everything. We're so dependent on this country. It's sickening. All our antibiotics are made there. I think 90%. Yeah, manufacturing. I mean, they bought how many farms? I think it's 47 million acres of farmland they bought in the United States. How scary is that?
Wow.
Think about this. Could they poison our food supply? If there was an imminent war, imminent threat, could they use ecological terrorism? Put these invasive fish in rivers like there are? You know, we have baseball bats are made of ash, right? From the ash tree. They have a bug that's been eating them for years. Is that to take down the American pastime? We can't even make a bat no more. So, you know, there's all kinds of ecological terrorism going on, I feel, in this country with invasive species, new bugs, West Nile. You know, there's a conspiracy to escape from Long Island, a lab there. You know, there's so many different things that have been happening here to how, you know, ecological format of this whole country that I don't think it's by accident. You know, there's lionfish. Lionfish was an expensive fish. Now you go in the Caribbean or along the coast of Florida, Georgia, lionfish are eating all the other fish. How'd they get proliferate like that? How'd it come to be? You know, so it's like we're getting destroyed. So am I saying that China's doing it? Yeah, that's my opinion. Somebody's doing it. But I think Russia's, the thing with Russia, we could have fixed that a long time ago. I think that was an easy fix. They were about fuel and energy. You know, they were the biggest, baddest boogie monster we had faced because that's what we learned in school. It was always about the Russians are bad. I don't think the Russians are bad at all. I think that in some of their politics and the way they go about their business, maybe reactionary to us, maybe reactionary to other countries. But I think we did have some good relationships not too long ago with the Russians. I even think they let us open up a FBI office there at one time. I can't. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's what I heard. We helped them with a lot with with terrorism in their country. We helped them a lot there. So there was a great relationship building at one time. SALT treaty, other treaties in place. So I don't view that. I don't view them as a real enemy. When you give me the two, it's definitely China. They own us. We can't buy. We talked about buying things, right, RJ? Right. We talk about buying things. Anywhere you go, everything's Chinese. Yeah. At one time, it was a cheap thing to buy because it was something that was affordable for the people, but it killed our manufacturing, crushed us. You couldn't compete. You know, they own most of the pork companies in this country. Again, fact check me. That's from what I read, that they own most of the biggest pork providers in the country. So, yeah, we're threatened more ways than militarily. I think they kill us right now, militarily.
Who?
China.
Oh, China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. They've been building and building. They've owned, you know how many ports around the world in different countries? They bought into, fixed, and they have their military there. They built islands. They built islands in the ocean. They have military fields there. So long-winded, yeah, easily China. Look, the Chinese are brilliant people. I feel they're the best mathematicians in the world, as a whole, as a populace. I think they're very brilliant people. I'm not taking that away from them at all. But it's governments like our government, the Russian government. It's not the people. Look, Iran. You think those people want to be under a cleric rule, under radical rule? No, those people are good people. There's nothing wrong with Iranian people. When the Shah was there, everything was pretty good. They were Americanized. And not that Americanized, quote unquote, is a good thing, but they were more open-minded. Now today, they're, for the last 40 years, 30 years, they've been really under the gun. They want to be free. There was riots there just recently. They killed hundreds of people. So, the world is in a tough spot right now. People want to be free. They don't want war. And then you have the countries like China. It's obvious. It's what you can do is look. It's not for even my opinions. Just have an open mind and read and see what they're doing.
Yeah. What do you think Kim Jung Un fits in this whole thing? I mean, I'm surprised that's not a third. I mean, that's what our media makes us think about, those three people: Kim Jong Un, Vladimir, and President Xi. I mean, those are the three that our media is pushing on us, I guess, for the most part.
You know what? Again, China goes like this. Get out there, make some noise. Get out. That's my opinion. China, get out there, make some noise. Get that kid out there. Then everybody looks at him. He's a barking dog. He's going to end the world. I think he likes to live, that kid. I don't think he wants to die. I don't think he wants to burn the earth. I don't think he wants to do any of that. But look, when we fought North Korea, right, in the Korean War, who were we really fighting? You're fighting the Chinese. You know that? Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. The Chinese backed them big and had troops there. In Vietnam, who was there? Chinese and Russians. Proxy wars, just like we're doing right now with Ukraine. We're fighting a proxy war.
That's a great point. It's a great point. You're right, because we are. It's bullshit to act like we're not involved in that, because we are. There are bombs and our stuff that's being so. And a lot of war is fought not hand-to-hand combat. It's up in the air. It's through shooting stuff. It's not. So a lot of what's it's always silly to me to like how we pretend to not be in something that we're in. It's like our politics has gotten that way too. People who say, I'm not political, I'm not involved in politics. They're the ones that's funding most of the politicians and most of the groups and most of the super PACs and most of
think about when the Russians fought in Afghanistan. Who'd they fight? Those guys had slippers and pajamas on. Not fighters. Nah, where'd they get the weapons from? Us. Who was in there? Our CIA. What were they knocking their helicopters down with? A slingshot? They weren't knocking their helicopters down with a slingshot. Without equipment, without weaponry.
That's funny.
We fought a proxy war.
Did you ever hear that? Very funny Dave Chappelle joke. He said, how does George Bush know that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction?
He's got the receipt.
Yes, how do you know that? You heard that?
I know right away. Yeah. Well, they said that during the Iraq War.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's funny. Okay.
They said, how do you know we had him? Well, we still got the receipt. You know why? It wasn't that they We gave them the chemical weapons to fight Iran.
Yeah.
We were a proxy for Saddam fighting Iran. They're mortal enemies.
Yeah.
Shiite and Sunni, you know? And he was a Ba'athist, I believe. They were the Ba'athist party, I think, Saddam. So, you know, and that was the thing. Well, how do you know Saddam had them? We got the receipts, so we gave him the weapons. Exactly.
That's funny.
So look, you know, we got the great. It seems like I'm bashing our country. I'm not. I'm just saying these are politics, and it's way beyond us as a citizenry that we really don't grasp what's really going on in the world. Whatever strategic moves these people, whoever run this country, besides the president, and I think he's just really a spokesman at points, and the military has a huge influence. And all these secret agencies on what's going on through information and intel they get to really know what's going on. Now, does the president really get the right information at times? Or is he getting an agenda? You know, so we don't know. And we're in their hands. And, you know, what you see going on is really scary in today's world for our kids, you know, and grandkids, of course. And they're going to bear the brunt of a lot of stuff that's happening right now. World better be careful.
Michael, if you could do your whole life over again, would you never have gone into the mafia?
No, I would have. That was my dream as a little boy. You know, as a kid growing up, but am I supposed to just get the eraser? No.
Well, I guess where you stand now from today, right now, today, thinking back, it was all worth it still? Like you wouldn't change a thing?
No, there's a lot of pain. I'm not saying that there's that one aspect when I cooperated, you know, that destroyed a lot of things. It hurt me deeply. It hurt a lot of other people deeply. So I'm not going to say that was worth it. But at that time, if I have to go back in that life, that was something I look up to. That's something I always wanted to do. I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to be a baseball player. I wasn't going to be a baseball player 5'5" at 17 years old, 16 years old, you know? So, you know, yeah, I would have to say I would have done it. Maybe I would have done things, not maybe, I would have done things differently. You know, that changed the course at that time. But I can't run away from my past, RJ. I can't say, oh, yeah, that was a bad life, because it wasn't. It wasn't for me. I know I'll catch grief over this. We say you lived a bad life, yeah, but that was my world, that was my life. Have to say I have regrets about everything and everybody. No, I had a lot of great friends. I consider a lot of those guys my brothers. I had a lot of great times. I can't wash that away.
I own a restaurant and a used car dealership. I have a good life, many friends, and I have a girlfriend that stood by my side through everything. 27 years ago, I cooperated against people I loved and people who I loved when I was in the streets. No matter how much time passes, I can't forgive myself. Some days I feel like I don't want to live. What's your advice for me?
Yeah, that's a good one. Life imitating art. Well, you know, I can only give myself the same advice that I got from others is, you know, you got to persevere. You got to understand the damage you did and hold yourself accountable, but don't beat yourself up because time passes too fast. And you need to enjoy what you have today. And again, you still have to have a conscience. And, you know, one day we all will see what the end result is. You know, sometimes during the course of your life, you don't know in that minute what's right and what's wrong. Only time could tell if what you did was right and wrong. Now, the cooperation part, of course, you create a lot of damage with that. So you'll have to have a conscience and stay aware of the disappointment and the impact you left. But you still have to go forward and move on because there's other people that support you. And you have to think of them first and foremost at that point, because you're letting them down if you're down all the time, if they stuck by you.
Wow.
So it sounds a little bit selfish, saying, forget the damage I did. But for myself, I could point that at myself. I say, I'm never going to forget the damage I did. There was things I did were good. I have some good things, but when you do bad, it's like debt. Debt is, you can't unring that bell of debt. So, but there's certain things that you can remember in that person's death that are good. So just like that life, and then cooperating and ended your life there, and having a wake behind you. You have to understand that there's other people that stayed with you, and you have to live life with them and for them at that point.